Do you deserve a higher rank? Are your brain dead teammates holding you back? Silver may be one of the easiest ranks, but probably one of the hardest to climb out of. It's a coin toss every match whether you're going to get teammates that actually have their monitors turned on or not. But that isn't the only reason that you're hard stuck in silver. Although people are terrible at the game, you're in this rank as well, which means that you need to improve also. And if you're constantly blaming your teammates for losing, you will never improve and you will never climb out of your rank. In this video, I'm going to share with you everything you need to know in order to improve your gameplay and climb to the higher ranks. And this isn't going to be your typical tutorial video, as I will not be giving you generic gameplay tips like crosshair placement and things like that. Instead, I'm going to be giving you the tips that you actually need to hear in order to rank up. As I assume you probably already watched all the gameplay tutorials that you need, so I would highly suggest you stick around for this whole video, because if you do, I guarantee that you're going to rank up faster than you ever thought you could. So with that being said, let's get right into it. The first thing you need to do if you actually want to improve at Valorant is to stop playing on autopilot. Too many of you just run around without actually thinking about what you're doing and wonder why you're playing so inconsistently. It's not that you're inconsistent, it's that you literally have no plan and you're just running around trying to get kills. Valorant is not an arena shooter. You actually have to think and come up with a plan of attack, and I can guarantee most of you aren't doing this. Before each round starts, think about what you're gonna do, and also think about what the enemy team might do. Start looking at how they're playing. Are they peeking the same spot every round? Are they faking sights every single round on attack? Watch for trends in the enemy's playstyle and start to make a plan around it. If you start to do this, you will not only win more games, you will also improve like crazy. The one thing about Valorant is that every single game is going to play out differently. So if one game you're absolutely popping off and you feel unstoppable, but in the next you try to do the exact same thing and you're getting absolutely destroyed, it's because the enemy team is playing differently and they're exploiting your playstyle. This is going to leave you to feel like you play very inconsistent. So instead of doing this, learn how to switch up your playstyle and adapt to different situations. Instead of doing the same thing every single time you play, actually think about what you're doing. This is going to guarantee that you do well every single game. You can think of Valorant like a game of chess. You need to be thinking at least 3 steps ahead of your opponent if you want to win. Now, with that being said, even if you do start to make a plan every single round you're playing, you're going to play much better yourself. However, it is inevitable that you are going to get absolute monkeys for teammates 90% of the time. So I would highly suggest that you do your best to never solo queue. Try to at least have a duo every single time you play. This way you're going to be able to communicate with each other properly, make set plays, bait for each other, and you'll at least have one person that you can rely on your team. Because a lot of the time, even if you do come up with a good plan, your random teammates will not listen and you're going to end up losing regardless of what you do. With that being said, you can't blame your teammates for losing the game. You can only blame yourself for solo queuing, because you should know by now that you're more than likely to get absolute shitters for teammates. If you don't have anyone on your friends list that you can queue with, you're going to have to bite the bullet and solo queue for a little while. And when you do this, do your best to communicate with your team. And if one of your random teammates is actually listening and trying to play with you, or if they're just decent at the game, try and make friends with them and add them after. If you do this over time, you'll have enough people in your friends list that you can play with, so you'll never have to solo queue again. And this is going to help you tremendously when trying to climb out of your rank. If you have found people to play with and you log on and there's no one to queue with, do not play alone. Play some unrated or some death matches and practice. I know that you want to grind and you want to get out of your rank, but if you start solo queuing and losing all your games, the grind was an absolute waste of your time, and it's going to make it even harder for you to climb out of the rank you're stuck in. And this leads me directly into my next tip, which is to only play a few games at a time. Now, I know that you're itching to grind and finally get out of silver, but I can promise you that playing 10 games in a row, maybe winning 4 and losing 6, is not the answer. Playing less games, but playing when you feel confident in yourself and you're fully alert and attentive will get you much better results than just spam queuing and hoping to win. So I would highly suggest that you only queue comp on the days that you actually feel like you can play good and win. If there's a day where your aim feels off, or you're tired, or you're just not that into it, don't queue comp and throw your own elo. Just grind some unrated, play some death matches, or just do something else. But for God's sakes, don't just queue for the simple fact of queuing and lose all your games. When you are feeling good and you are ready to queue up into comp, only play about 3 to 4 games. Even if you win all 4 games, do not continue to queue afterwards, because you will inevitably start to lose and it's going to snowball downhill. And playing 3 to 4 games and winning all of them is much more effective than playing playing 10 games, winning 4, and losing 6. And on a high note, cut your losses and get out. This is going to keep your mental and your confidence up, and then you can just get on tomorrow and queue again. If you do this consistently, you're going to win a lot more games in a row, you're going to rank up a lot faster, and you will inevitably climb out of silver in no time. A huge thing holding a lot of people back is overqueuing and tilt queuing. You feel like grinding more is going to get you better results, but in reality, playing more games is not always the answer. Playing a couple games every day and playing well is much more effective. So what you need to do is learn some self-control and self-awareness, and this is going to get you a lot farther in Valorant. But quickly, before I give you the last and most important tip, what is the area of your gameplay that you feel you need to improve the most? Let me know in the comments down below. Now, the last tip, and arguably the most important but controversial tip of them all, is you need to lower your sensitivity. And I know what you're thinking, but Dylan, sensitivity is just preference. Although that may be true, in Valorant, there's a reason why 90% of pro players use a sensitivity no higher than 0.4 800 DPI. Because in this game, you have to have a very steady crosshair, and most of the shots that you're going to make are tiny micro adjustments. So you don't want to have a very fast sensitivity because it's just going to make everything much harder for you. And before you tell me, well, I'm used to my sensitivity, so I'm not going to change it, you're stuck in silver right now, so you can't really get much worse. But that's okay because we all start somewhere, but it's time to bite the damn bullet and lower your sensitivity. I'd suggest trying something between 0.2 and 0.3 800 DPI. This would be a great place to start. But once you do this, you're going to have a bit of an adjustment period, so I'd highly suggest playing some KOVAAKS or some aim labs, and I'm going to link in the description some good playlists that you can try. But I promise you, if you lower your sensitivity and take the time to get used to it, your performance is going to increase so drastically you'll be shocked. And I'm only saying this because I came from games like Call of Duty, Halo, and Apex where I played on a relatively high sensitivity, and I actually brought that over to my Valorant gameplay, and it wasn't until I dropped my sensitivity that I actually got good at this game. So I'm not saying this just because it makes sense, I'm saying this because it actually worked for me. And when I did it, my entire gameplay changed and I got 1,000 times better. So put your ego to the side because I don't care who you think you are, you don't have the fine motor skills necessary to be able to be consistent with these micro adjustments needed in Valorant, playing at a sensitivity any higher than the ones that I've listed above. Now, with that being said, if you do practice at this lower sensitivity, you get a lot better at the game, you climb the ranks, then you can mess around with trying higher sensitivities if that's what you want. But I think you're going to find once you get used to it and start playing on it, you're not going to want to change anyways. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you got any value out of this video or you want to see videos like this in the future, feel free to hit that like button, sub to the channel, and ring that bell notification so that you can stay ahead of every other gamer and unlock your full potential. Much love, guys. Hopefully I'll see you in the next one.